Tak and the Power of Juju was a highly acclaimed platformer game turned show on the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Game Boy Advance. But is Tak and the Power of Juju still worth playing in 2022 with today's standards? There must have been some reason Nickelodeon turned it into a full-fledged TV show, right? Psst, you can watch me record these types of videos gameplay on Twitch, but I cropped it out for the sake of the video. After beating Tak and the Power of Juju in around 7 hours-ish, I've gotten a pretty good idea of how the game plays. Tak approaches storytelling with comedy, with the opening scene being the mighty warrior turned sheep.
Name is Locke. Tak, what are you doing?
You told me to go get Locke.
With a surprisingly good animation style for the time it was made in. The gameplay of Tak is pretty straightforward. You collect feathers to gain health, which also adds to your feather count, which you use to expend on various Juju powers you find throughout the game, aka magic. A pretty significant aspect is that you interact with a lot of animals in the game, like monkey, sheep, chicken, orangutan, rhino, ostrich, and ram, all having unique traits and ways to utilize them to add to the puzzles and game design. There are several very creative boss battles in the game that are unlike most traditional boss fights. Some of these include playing Battleship, Phoenix backriding, and Dance Battle. While the gameplay pretty much holds up, playability, on the other hand, is definitely not up to par with today's standards. There is no map with 16 pretty sizable areas, which at times can leave you wandering mindlessly for something you've already seen, which is definitely just hypothetical. But fortunately, to the game's credit, there are warp points that you can activate to make your life easier getting to and from different villages, basically skipping the hub village. This does not help finding specific parts on each area though, which a couple times I found myself lollygagging in an area to find a temple that I saw previously but I couldn't find now. But I guess that isn't an issue if you pay attention to the little details. My final problem, which is also my biggest problem, is that the camera is so bad. The camera does not follow or move to where Tak is looking, and if it does move, it moves slightly in the direction you want to go, which can actually throw off what you were trying to do. When you move the camera around with the C-stick, it moves at a snail's pace and gets stuck and clipped on walls. And if that happens, you have to rotate the C-stick again 360 degrees to see what you're trying to see in the first place. And to add on to the camera, sometimes when Tak faces the camera, the game eats your input for double jumps. So sometimes when you haven't jumped, it reads your jump as the second jump in the double jump, which cancels out the second jump. So you end up thinking that you have 2 jumps, but you fall into the void. It's hard to explain and even harder to show on camera because I'm not showing my controller, but trust me, it happens.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Tak, there is no more time. You'll have to get the moonstones while Locke recovers.
In case for some reason you haven't played and you want to play and experience the full story for yourself, I am about to spoil the whole story. Okay. The evil shaman Tlaloc turns all the people of Pupununu to sheep, including Locke, the mighty warrior, and it is up to you, Tak, to restore Locke's physical form. You can enlist the help of several Juju spirits using their tiki statues to spawn them in, and they can provide help by spawning platforms, giving you a chicken outfit, etc. Regardless of these mystical Juju spirits, you still have to do the groundwork. You have to first collect 4 teeth from the warrior king's tomb to get a blow stick. You can also pole vault on this blow stick, which is very important throughout the entire game because you get more height.
Meant to have it.
Whoa.
Then you have to get 9 magic Nubu seeds. To get the seeds, you need to kill 3 different mini plant bosses from 3 different areas. After you've acquired the Nubu seeds, you need to lure 3 mummies from their tombs in the burial chambers to open the spirit realm. But before you go in the spirit realm, you need to get the spirit rattle that allows you to see spirits and get Yorbles.
Off drop?
Now, we haven't covered Yorbles yet, but oh my god, we will. Once you have the spirit rattle, you can go into the spirit realm. Once you're in the spirit realm, you'll be confronted by the death Juju, and he needs to get his balloons for his party. Once you have Locke's spirit balloon, you have to carefully navigate through a maze of thorns to not get him popped. If all is a success and you get him back to Jibalba, then he can resurrect him. But there's a slight caveat. Yeah, you need 100 Yorbles. That's the big 100. Now, I don't know if that sounds big or small to you, but it definitely felt big to me while I was getting them.
Collect 100 magic Yorbles to make the resurrection spell work.
100 magic yorbles?
Yes, don't complain. When I was a young man, it used to take 10,000 magic yorbles to do a resurrection spell.
Lucky me. Now if I only knew what a yorble was.
After trudging through and getting the 100 Yorbles, I could finally actually resurrect Locke at Jabalba's hut.
Dim.
Hey! Oh, I locked.
But of course, there's complications. When Locke is resurrected, he suffers from what is known as
I'm ready, Jabalba, for I am the mighty warrior called for by the Papoo. Oh, Papoo, Boo. Oh, no. Jabalba, where's the...
Out the door, round the back. They call it
What?
Resurrection's Revenge.
So once again, Tak has to save the day.
Guessed. Me, the mighty warrior.
You go on a mission to get 3 moonstones required to beat Tlaloc. At the end of 3 pretty long temples, you fight Tlaloc's minions, pins and needles. The first game, you play Battleship. The second game, you do Phoenix Riding Game. I don't know. And the third game, you do a dance battle. Oh yeah. Once you've collected the 3 moonstones from pins and needles, you can finally fight their master. Tlaloc, the evil shaman, has a pretty easy boss fight. It has like 4 stages and they're all pretty much just hitting stuff, and then they move on to the next stage. However, on the last stage, he turns our tutorial goddess, Flora, into a green monkey, or orangutan rather. Now, as you might have saw earlier, orangutan can fling you with trees, so she does the same. She pulled the tree down and launched me into the magic Nubu plant. Being in the magic Nubu plant equipped me with all the power of Tlaloc's magic. Now that I wield the power of turning sentient life into sheep, like Tlaloc did to the people of Pupununu, you can turn Tlaloc into an evil sheep. Now, orangutan also happened to throw sheep. So I handed Tlaloc's sheep form to Flora's orangutan form, and now she launched him into the magic Nubu plant. Dude, that is sick. Instead, for some reason, he shot out of the volcano looking thing, and you see him drop in front of 4 rams. He gets rammed. They fall in love with him and want to.
Close personal.
Overall, the game was a lot of fun to play, and very much worth 7 hours. My biggest complaint gameplay-wise is the collection of the 100 Yorbles, which isn't too bad, but it was just tedious. Other than that, the puzzles were very straightforward and easily solvable, the only hiccups being the ones that the camera instigates. So, is Tak and the Power of Juju worth playing in 2022? Considering the 7 hours of casual gameplay it took to beat, I would recommend playing Tak. It is a pretty fun platformer game that takes advantage of Juju magic, where you can stumble across different Juju spirits, all with unique backstories and personalities, use different Juju magic powers, and experience comedic cutscenes and plot. But for those concerned about having actual content and real boss fights and a serious story, this game can definitely get tedious with little tasks and takes the story as a joke more than anything. From my experience, I would rate it a 6.5 out of 10. If you got to the end of the video, please consider subscribing. I'll be streaming more games on Twitch that go into making these types of videos. Thanks for watching.
Boom, 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 boom,